welcome back to my lovely HP community and the 5D collective. As we were chit-chatting about our lovely how deep is your love? I really mean to learn. As you know, the depths of my very soul, you and I in 5D, you and I, da 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 da, right? Okay, so we're talking about the whole self. And so when you know how to love yourself first, when you know how to be mindfully aware, spiritually aware, and you don't have any child parts that are being disowned. Okay, so self-regulation, self-attunement, self-awareness in the 5D frequency state of consciousness. And that's why experiencing love deeply is easy, because we experience thoughts and emotions and their texture softly as mindfulness practices accompany us, and mindset and mind sight. And so you do it on purpose to use your social engagement system when you're feeling, to use your ventral vagal state, because you're using your prefrontal cortex. So once you have the ownership of the sense of self and you are securely attached, you're 0 1-year-old, this is why it's easy to think and feel. And you keep on building that resiliency because you're tuning and regulating in your ventral vagal state, thanks to being in your prefrontal cortex with bilateral integration, vertical integration, and so your integration is whole and you continue it. When we have those who are not here, we don't treat them any differently than Pacha treats Cusco or the squirrel or Yzma or anything like that. And actually, humanly speaking, we will allow ourselves to have a good time, have a fun time, like Cusco gets to lie at the end. Okay, so Pacha doesn't say, I spotted you, you're a facade with a flag post. No, without a flag post. And a flag was a facade and a flag without a flag post. So I've been using these examples. If you're new, you don't know that. The facade friend flag is a person who doesn't own, again, their sense of self, core, narrative, relational, or solo. So when you see a man in the crowd with other men, they will actively treat you in a way depending on that crowd's mentality, because it will match, though, who they are. So a person who doesn't have a flag post is a person who, to me, doesn't have integrity, because they don't care about their emotion of I'm cool with being me. They actively can be shamed, guilted, and more, so their nervous system is actively affected by other people. It's also called in and out group. It's called the mammalian heritage. But it's really a human being who doesn't claim ownership consistently over time of who they are. And that's why they don't know how to be their self, to a person who knows how to be the flag and the flag post, which is where an empowered feminine comes into the mix. Because my feminine is my body, my masculine is my mind, and sometimes I'll say divine and divine. And so yes, twin flame and flames, it's another thing. And some will say you can only have one. Anybody in the 5D mystic and overall spirituality community will let all of those who are here understand no one can set down. You can use ancient textbooks. If you're using left and right brain, you're using an actual integrated brain. You're the conscious person. Pure consciousness works with a integrated brain. Otherwise, you're cut off. And the ones who are cut off, again, they don't marry their value, heart, emotional, mental, physical body, because they don't own their inner child. They don't own their sense of self. They're teenagers leading them, and it will be something you'll notice because of the lack of visibility they have of their own self, of their own tone, of them being able to regulate, of them being able to get out of their ego. And the facade instead stays a facade. My friend taught me well, which is why when I'm with any of people, and once I've spotted facade, I'll know who they are. They won't know who they are, because I don't go up and tell you, because as a teenager I learned how people react to when you say, hey, you did that thing. No, I didn't. And so you consistently will have awareness. When you meet empowered people, they're self-aware. When you meet those who are not yet there, they're going to be clear. And in time, if you're consistently hanging out, you'll figure out their mojo. So, whole self, securely attached people and mystics, we're going to talk and hone in on those who experience love deeply. And that's why when we're building genuine relationships, we won't flip a switch on you. So the love is consistent, and the depth, obviously, here's where if you don't welcome all of who you are, so you're not an empowered masculine, then I won't be really having a deep, empowered relationship necessarily, because you don't own your inner child, so you don't know how to be vulnerable with me. You also won't consistently be open hearted and vulnerable with me because you don't know how. But it's different when you meet the ones who are vulnerable. So, my 5D mystic masculine friend that we've talked about. That is, for example, a most beautiful conversation that I got to have. And although they, the year prior, had different stories and different way of sharing, they acknowledged why they had that way, because they're healing with a good therapist. So when somebody's healing, like a 5D mystic feminine, if they're healing, they will be able to be very objective, very compassionate, very loving, very kind, and very understanding of all different subject matters, and not be confused or think that there's something wrong with those of us who are knowing how spirituality and science has come together. We don't talk about Lucifer because there's no Lucifer, there's no demons. We know about the lower energetic frequencies and those experiences, as well as channeling, downloads, astral travel, but we experience the 5D body type experiences these differently. That's how I'm going to bring it to you, because I have a mindset that is with the inner growth. I have mindfulness and mindset where I can sit with, again, thoughts and emotions in the land of Shiva, nothingness, so Kali doesn't take over. And I have Krishna Lila to explore the depths of seriousness. So I use those words because I learned of Krishna Lila, Kali, and Shiva from Sadhguru. And they are perfect when it comes to, if you don't have the capacity to work with your visceral, because you don't have the capacity to work with your heart, because you don't have the capacity to work with your mind, because you don't have the capacity to work with your bilateral brain. And notice that your thoughts and emotions are not irrefutable facts, and there's no reason for you to have punching gloves. So emotional, again, triggers are not going to be something a person uses when they're putting into practice mindfulness, mindset, and mindset, because once they are taking care of their inner child to lead themselves to an inner child adult, not stay an adaptive child, they learn how to spot when they're overwhelmed and to break those behavior trigger reward loops. They learn how to navigate emotions tied to trauma and attachment wounds with a good therapist. So then after that, their whole self, or they're ready for more. Okay. And they are also going to be equipped to work with tools to carry with themselves to work and with relationships. And so Dan Siegel, his quote is, he had, you can put they or she, to take the adult part of himself and learn to care of his excluded younger self, not just beating himself up, because the inner critic, outer critic. And then we also have the definition, or another quote of Dan, an emotional trigger is where something has happened either internally or interpersonally or interactively. Okay, now here's where, when you meet individuals who are welcoming of who they are, they have the capacity to consistently be reassured in being able to talk to you, because they're in a safe haven, secure base. Okay, so that is why it's amazing to share with you all how it feels to be the embodied feminine of my oversoul, the empowered one, versus what I see with distorted ones, and also to explain it to you so that you can understand. Again, we all have feminine and masculine, but you'll know which part of you are of your oversoul. So my 5D mystic masculine friend, he is a person that is a connection that I'm going to call secure. I care about his well-being, which is why I followed up with him, because of really wanting to know how he was doing. And I was happy to hear that he's back in therapy and doing mindfulness, and that he's realized, what he has not lost. Well, he said lost. So the part about his capacity, though, to also realize that it comes and stems from trauma, and he's still not quite all the way to his capacity to take a leap of faith, but he wants to, which is why therapy. So the healing journey for those who have any type of diagnosis or personality disorder or the childhood trauma is one that involves a certain amount of time. And that's going to happen when a person wants to be their whole self, which is amazing. So, with that being said, building genuine relationships, even with the ones who don't heal, is going to be something that we get to do and want to do because there's, again, Pacha and Cusco. So 3D, 4D state of consciousness, low self-esteem person isn't going to be a problem for the ones of us who know how to share, this is how I do things, this is how I don't. And that's where we don't exclude and cut out people or talk about anybody as an energy vampire dark aura. We don't expect a twin flame or twin flames or soulmates to have to be in any specific role for us. The bond is very, very amazing. And the only part that can be interrupting is the when you're emotionally mastering and moving into also physical mastery, because that is the time. It is the time to remember. That's the how deep is your love? How deep is your love? I really want to learn. And then it's also other words that came from the song that I was thinking to share with you. I know your eyes in the morning sun, right? I feel you touch me in the pouring rain, and the moment that you wander far from me, I want to feel you in my arms again. So really, even if they wander far from you, they don't wander anywhere, because you're going to completely pick up on everything. And you come to me on a summer breeze, keep me warm in your love, then you softly leave. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? Okay, I really mean to learn. Well, they talk about the world of fools, so this is obviously where you feel supported, understood, right, by the person that you will share a heart-to-heart and more conversations, because that's a genuine relationship and you're being vulnerable and not hiding. So breaking us down when they all should let us be, we belong to you and me. This is that whole visceral stuff of teenagers. Okay, so when you hear anybody saying, well, we're a power couple, but it's really hard to keep a relationship, that is a human being who has not claimed the ownership yet of their 0-1-year-old. You don't have to, just letting you know. So our mammalian heritage, yes, it is about having one caring connection. It is not us feeling that it is hard work or that I need to meet some kind of agenda. I don't treat you as an object. You don't treat me as an object. In fact, that's why it's not conditional love. It's an inner child adult, because Terry Real talks about conditional. Eternal child, whole self, secure attached. You ain't going to have conditions. You're going to say, you're going to talk. That's why it's not conditions. You have the capacity to talk and keep talking. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, and he loves to learn, and he loves to live, and he loves to love, and he loves to not cast stones. So he's going to have a good time trying to talk to me, because he's got passion in his blood, and her and they. So social engagement, totally amazing. Remember though, I'm partly Neapolitan, so I have it in me to be quite the person, and that's why, you walk a walk and talk a talk. So we don't do the breaking us down when they all should let us be. We belong to you. Me, I believe in you. Yes. You know the door to my very soul. You're the light in my deepest, darkest hour. You're my savior when I fall. Okay, so this part, again, some people have that. And that is your 0-1-year-old who wants and sees that person as your secure attachment figure, which is what will happen in a monogamous, even a solo polyamory relationship. However, when you have compersion, when you have experiences, when you also have had a number of years, obviously, you won't have this primordial attachment panic, is what one of my books, Polysecure. So there is the way the nervous system will react when a person who is in the solo poly and overall polyamory community, the first time one of their partners is off on a date, or something like that, which is why you want to have the capacity to be a securely attached person, to have conversations, which is easy. You don't go, you're not poly enough if somebody doesn't want to be polyamory. That's not a securely attached human being. It's a human being who wants you to do what they want you to do. That might as well be again, immature, and they're not teenagers anymore. It's just their fight teenager little response is what they're bringing to the table. It's called adaptive child. Making it all about them. They want to control the situation. They won't let it go. Excuse me. It confuses science and spirituality. I'm bringing them together. No, no, you see, I'm a mystic too. Okay, wait, let me. So what I do on my podcasts and my content is da. No. Here I have Buddha. I have quantum physics. So now I got a 3-year-old. This is all I have with a 16-year-old. I'm having a good time because I got Krishna, Leela, Shiva, Kali. I'm a feminine. I love to meet people also, but I'm a feminine. I'm Maria with my social engagement system as I mindfully live in love. This is not something that I have a trouble. No, I don't hear anybody as rude. Even my friend, when he came up to me, the one, you know you want it, why don't you give it to him? I didn't hear, oh my God, my friend, oh my God, I'm so, no, there's no physical threat. He wasn't even rude. I just said, he's talking. No, he's just, no, I'm just friends. I don't want him like that. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, okay, so micro expressions for a person who is pure consciousness because you got integrated brain, easy peasy. My gut would tell me if I'm physically threatened. That's the only thing I'm going to be alerted when I'm seeing any man come up towards me or woman. So this part about you're my savior when I fall, and you may not think I care for you when you know down inside that I really do, and it's me you need to show. Okay, so right here when you you may think I don't care for you. Okay, so these are songs that fit really well for when somebody is just starting to go into a relationship, and then to learn how to not consider one human being your savior and to work through that emotionally, which is why we have a whole bunch of people who talk to you about post-traumatic growth. And then what other words? Yes, no, that's it. So the fact that they're calling the world a bunch of fools, right? We have those who we're our favorite people, and we are the ones who understand each other. It's beautiful, but more beautiful to be able and explore it independently. So to be able and explore from the depths of the mental and emotional plane. And that's why I'm happy to be here for those of you who do have a twin flame and you are potentially exploring what are your clairs, and the emotional mastery and the physical mastery is all about your own sense of self. Number one, owning your mind and your emotions. It means owning your brain and your mind and yourself. It means getting yourself securely attached. I'm going to lead you with a very explainable, which is why when someone teases the other mystics in our community that are talking about child parts work and they're dismissing it, it's because they don't believe in it. Now, also, please, again, mystic and a person in the community with clairs, I'm going to say that you are a person who has a journey. That spiritual awakening, the spiritual mission. Okay, so that part is, of course, part of your journey, but you don't need the masculine or the feminine to awaken yourself to that. And also when people are using ancient textbooks to apply to today, what is now an instruction manual, which is still personal development, and accompanying it with your spirituality journey, it's all good and roses. But what I'm just trying to say is the positive and negative charge, that's a real deal. And the polar attracting, not attracting, if you really want to look at it, it's about you becoming the self-empowered version of you, which means owning your heart and owning your soul and owning yourself and owning your mind and owning your gut and having healthy self-worth. So being able to know that even if you felt that that person is your savior, meaning that they're the only one who can take care of you in the deepest, darkest of moments, because you will have that. So the twin flame is that you're my home. I feel at home with you. I feel safe. And there will be that very specific safety. And it's not a bubble phase. That's what they call it. That's bullshit. It's a bullshit word, because what it is that you are coming together with that which is a perfect union, because a perfect union within yourself is your restorative embodiment. and unconditional love, and your nervous system in its ventral vagal state, which also, as Stephen Porges points out, is true love. So it's when I can sit with you all day long and I feel safe with you. And I feel more than just safe for that twin flame. There's other things that will tell you, and then there's other aspects that I can share with you on soulmates. But the part about once you're an independent true lover, it's because you know nobody is going to save you or not save you. You don't need that. And again, your mammalian heritage seeks one primary caregiver, which is where those first teenage relationships, why the saying from some of those older people, right? I mean, they told me, you're not going to love anyone the same way you loved him because he's your first true love or your first love. And I was like, nope. In fact, twin flames beat it all, but it's not about love. It's that they have a bond that is it's amazing. It's amazing. So it's not something that derails the embodied, empowered feminine, because that means I'm owning my nervous system, you see? Okay, so I'm bringing to you the fact that you own the heart and the mind and you feel and think softly. So this is why nervous system is what you're owning. Self-regulation means you know how to self-regulate, self-attune, self-soothe. So yes, you're reminded always of people who are your safe haven, secure base, which is what essentially a twin flame will be, because that relationship in the moment you connect is going to have you embody pure bliss, pure everything. It's something that you'll never forget, but it's also something that you can recreate, even if you think you can't. And that's the part that an embodied, empowered feminine can tell you all about. Even as you think you can't create it, you're going to say, yes, you can. It's yours. You got your body, you got your brain. You're going to be able to, it's a feeling. Now that you know it, you can completely recreate it, because we can work magic with our thoughts and feelings, because that's how it works, to embody thinking and feeling mindfully and being in the state of awareness. As you're breathing and you're feeling deeply, you're going to be a part of the emotion. As you process any of them, you're not going to treat it as laundry. Also, the story of, we're living in a world of fools. That's the story of a teenager. It's like when you read people twisting data. See, I told you, narcissists aren't healable, but my colleagues, they're all against me. Only my community understands me. Makes me think of all the teenagers who didn't get, felt that they were welcome. So the one relationship is important, and it always will be important for you if you're building a secure attachment relationship. This is why Jessica Fern, in all of her books, the two that I have, she supports polyamory, thinking that it can lead people to secure attachment. I don't agree, because people will be led to secure attachment if they choose to take their inner child seriously, and that's mystics or not. So not because they choose polyamory. In fact, actually, I have people who chose polyamory not because they are actively polyamorous. No, they just do it because that's that trending, those trending topics. It's why poly enough. So the poly enough is clear to me that it's not polyamory that's going to lead people to be their healthy, securely attached self. It's a person who will be aware of what genuine relationships are, and to build them means that you have a whole sense of self, that you want that, and that to be deep within your own plane is the number one priority, and you're your own, you're not your own savior, by the way. I also found and find words in general that are that big completely unnecessary. When you're trying to sound all sophisticated, it's something that, sure, if I'm in a job specifically where I need to present negotiation, I'm working with a big corporation, like I have a panel of experts with me. The fact that you want to be sophisticated while talking to day-to-day people, I know that they think that we are losing ourselves. Yes, we want to allow ourselves to work to improve vocabulary, meaning not have middle school language, but we don't need to sound like the prince of yesterday's fucking land with using all sophisticated terminology. This is where I will allow myself to share food for thought. So again, obviously that's to be continued. In the meantime, building gender relationships. I be me, you be you, mindfully, flawed with integrity. We have a good time. You're gonna build depth of relationship. If you're a mystic, embodied, empowered feminine, you're gonna have an empowered, embodied masculine. You can't have one that's not, because you're not a power couple as if we're like going to, be superheroes in some visceral way. The visceral is this type of codependent. So again, some people, they are happy with a healthy codependent, which is why with Jessica Fern and her books, I understand what she's trying to say and why it can help a person. But I don't feel that that is a solution at all, because it's a personal choice to want to accept not only attachment categories, attachment styles, all the new information. And I said accept because to me, that's your free will. I don't impose upon you that you become your social engaged, secure attachment 1 year old. I share with you empowering information and help you understand it and help you to know what it looks like. And that's why only those who are authentically healing, like Kylie with narcissism, are people I look up to when it comes to those who are healing. When I see the ones who are using their names to share with you how it's boring to be securely attached, I don't look up to them. They're just as the fancy man and women in suit who deny that they're not living in a healthy body because they're shut, armored in, and that's not any of my business. Mindfully living and loving individuals are empowered to be their own self. If they're a whole self, they know what free will means, and in the time of now. So with Jesus comes, forgive them for they do not know. Turn the other cheek. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. Don't cast a stone. Don't play God. While those in cloaks continue to allow themselves to do what they're doing because they have insecurely attached human beings who follow them, everyone, again, doesn't move here because the 5D that I'm talking about, because they have to. There's choice points as our globe in its entirety has come very far with what is attachment trauma information. And that is why I respect that some people, like Patrick Tiahan, his community, we don't want to forgive parents. We don't want to forgive anyone. We're doing our healing. They are respectable, in my opinion, because they're doing the emotional work. And I understand where an inner child realizing I was denied my inner childhood and I was made to be unkind and feel ashamed is going to have a lot of pent up that they're releasing, upset. They're angry. I would be angry completely. If I found out that I am afraid of loving and that I don't have an easy time opening my heart because of that, I could be pissed. I would get past it. So as he says, when people are ready, they forgive and then they choose a heart-to-heart relationship. The thing about trauma, it's relational. So you need at least one safe haven, secure base, romantic partner to create. This is why, again, the polyamory, monoamory, empowered community, we come together. We don't tease each other. I mean, when it comes to comedians, we all laugh. I find it humorous even when I watch the ones who think that husbands are polyamory because they're watching porn. I'm not in favor of the porn stuff. It's totally bullshit. Also, I find that people who don't have a good mental and emotional and physical relationship with their child parts, they are in need of building their relationship with their body, first of all. And that's also where I diverge, meaning I'm different than those who want to support individuals to not gain their inner sense of security, so they don't support internal secure attachment. And there's a bountiful of people who don't. So we'll continue again. But genuine relationships, we all accept each other. We don't want to do the characterological distinctions or judgments. We set our healthy boundaries, simply put, because we're empowered. So we don't get confused. Again, twin flame doesn't confuse you. You get more aware of your clairs. As every year that went by, I was able to learn something about my clairs, and I was able to then eventually regain my rainbow heart back, thanks to my rainbow indigo baby child. He's not a child, but it's an eternal child. It's a beautiful, beautiful rainbow of colors, and there's a lot of fun stories with that one. But when I got that, I was so at awe because I got to find out some more stuff with my twin flames, two of them particularly, because one of them is like the first lifetime of that person and the whole crew that is part of my oversoul. And that's where we have different soul age groups. So as a, again, embodied, empowered feminine, you will know when you're reading information what you're learning. You're going to know and learn how to consistently expand and update. You're not confused. It's really fun. And so, yeah, we don't get lost and we don't get angry in a way of, oh, never again. And I so totally want to see you get your karma back. And I so totally want to, no, 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 no. Now, I'll say this. There are moments where you will, at times, so when we've been undervalued, right? Okay, so when you know somebody has dismissed you as not valuable, that you'll feel that, you'll know that. So you'll know that they will have not appreciated through actions. Now, whether it's how they treat you again with their boys, whatever it is, through actions you see that you are not valued as the person you are, with all of those things that are part of you. So for me, mysticism, solo poly, also enlightenment. I'm going to use that one. Although you don't want to use it in a way of saying, I am, no. But enlightenment, meaning that you consistently are vibing in that frequency. Also that you do know when you get into enlightenment. So Adrian, okay, so people that aren't in our spirituality community, they don't have the experience. But when you meet the ones who love to share life, anyways, my point was, as I wrap it up, that you always look back, if you're an embodied, empowered feminine, and see all that your oversoul brought to you. The masculine, they look back and they spot every place where they chose not to love, and where they chose to stay in fear, and where they chose a lack of depth, and where they chose ego, distorted feminine included, when they empower. So empowering means you gain self-awareness, accountability, and regulation, and you take ownership, use your human name, and then you continue to move into enlightenment by taking the depth of thought and emotion seriously, not because you have to feel more, because you're growing and creating a relationship with it. If you want it, we have a Zen Master's Laundry. Okay, so again, there's choices and opportunities. Not everybody wants to own their ventral vagal state and consistently navigate it, because it's something that requires your participation of kind intention. When in awareness, those 6 basic human emotions come up, and as you're building a relationship with also the focused attention on yourself, core narrative relational solo, gaining a relationship with the sense of self, maintaining it with an open heart, no shame, no blame, none of that, and reparenting for those who have, and then you're reassuring. Okay, so people who struggle with self-doubt is because they want to commit, once they're done with the therapy, to self-empowerment. They don't, because this is that other choice point I've seen, is they want to have, so with the one-to-one, they want their you're my savior, they want the power couple. And they want that because that is the mammalian heritage, which is why Jessica Fern talks about polyamory as an opportunity to grab the essence of the heart. I get it again, but I'm going to repeat. To me, it's a free will, conscious choice, which is why at that point I'll say yes to the lack of free will with determined, because I'm going to then at that point say your first 3 years of life happen this certain way, then your first 8, and then your first 16. And at that point now, with all the information out there, by the time you're an adolescent, you will have opportunity between school and YouTube and YouTube, but that's it, because between school and YouTube, if you're surrounded by people who lack it, you have that's why, again, the term is important. But my point is that you will have been brought choice points of educational information, and then you will have been brought choice points with people. And this is why it's not a done and set in stone anything with twin flame, but it's also not something that needed to become what it became. Because your journey, by the way, to your spirituality awakening, yeah, you don't need your twin flame for that unless you're not an empowered feminine. And in fact, that's the reason why the distorted feminines have a very specific way that they relate to their twin flame journey, or masculines, because sometimes there's masculines that are awakened to it, and we have both. Like I said, they're all genuine relationships, but the difference is the embodied empowered feminine and the embodied empowered masculine will not be testing each other. Feminine will know she can live without him. He will not recognize her. He will only recognize her after he has not lost her, but it will become clear once he's seen from afar, in the time that it takes for that masculine to realize what life, love, laughter, and learning and expanding is all about, and what it means to have a secure attachment relationship with a healthy self-worth woman, man, or they. So it's once the masculine gains self-esteem and self-worth that they will become completely independently, the way I'm bringing it to you, aware. So they don't have to lose anyone. It's not that you lose someone, but they will remember the feeling that they had with their feminine, because again, she is going to be the safe haven, secure base. She's going to be home. She's going to be the one human being who they will have felt that they can spend the eternity of life with, and that nothing would ever harm them, not emotionally, physically, or mentally. And that is when the masculine, humanly speaking, however it may come, they realize she is the one. It doesn't have to be a she, again, and I'm just giving you this to close us out, because they don't nobody loses. Twin flames don't lose each other. They don't have to end up romantically together. That is actually, in fact, not what their connection is about. Their connection is about them being able to embody their empowered versions. The feminine becomes more of her empowered feminine, and or becomes completely empowered from distorted, and the masculine becomes the empowered masculine. And aka, it's a human being who loves themselves just the way they are, with flaws and imperfections, and so enamored with integrity. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to laugh, and he loves to learn, and he loves to live, and he loves to expand and dance and not cast stones. So we'll be back with more. Again, thank you for stopping by. Genuine relationships, they're fun, all of them. Have a good one.